What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Fantasy Alarm live stream here. Tuesday, September 1st. We are into September. It is Fantasy Football Draft Month. I'm joined by Jen Piacenti. Jen, what's going on?
Oh, just the usual big trade deadline yesterday. All kinds of news coming out today. People being drafted, people being signed. It's insane. Got a big draft tonight. My first time ever in the GST League, commissioned by none other than Adam Ronis. Little nervous. Do you have any tips for me?
Don't be nervous. I am not in your league. This is the Greenwich Street Tavern League. We usually have it live in New York City at the Greenwich Street Tavern, co-owned by Chris Vaccaro, who excellent fantasy player. He's in the NFFC Hall of Fame. Obviously, this year cannot do it in person, so it allowed us to get some people like yourself and Howard Bender who are outside of New York. Howard said he will come to New York next year, assuming we can be in person to do the draft. We'll see if you do the same if you want to remain in the league, because we do have it in person. But it's a fun league. It's 2 leagues of 12, and we also compete for an overall championship. So we model this after the high stakes league. So no IR. We do have 9 bench spots. We added a flex spot this year, so there's 11 starters. Fab twice a week. We did change to first come first serve only on Sunday morning in case kicker or someone gets scratched. We know this is going to be a crazy year, but yeah, it's a fun league. A lot of industry people in it, some fans and listeners over the years of shows, and some high stakes players. So it's a good group. We are in different leagues. You're in the one with Howard Bender. I am in one with Scott Engel and Chris Vaccaro. I've been in this league 3 years, won the championship 2 out of 3 years. Last year, lost in the final. And Scott Engel has won the other one 3 years in a row. So now we're in the same league. So one of us will go down, or maybe both of us go down. So we'll see. But yes, don't be nervous. It's fun. It's a fun league. I've enjoyed it. Maybe because I've won and done well.
I'm not really nervous. But what I am thinking about is how when I win the pot this year, it'll afford for me to be able to fly there next year to beat you guys again. So it's fine. Yeah.
Like the confidence.
We're good to go.
Don't forget, I know a lot of you are drafting here over the next few days, the weekend. Make sure you check out the Fantasy Alarm Draft Guide. I'm updating my rankings all day long. Just made some updates right before this live stream. Probably make more throughout the day, so they are up to date. So make sure you check that out. We have a ton of tools that will help you dominate this season. Let's kick it off with some news right before we begin. Some good news. We've been having a lot of bad news when it comes to running backs and contracts, but the Bengals have signed Joe Mixon to a 4-year extension for $48 million. So all of a sudden, those migraines, I had one last, wasn't good. It's gone. I'm assuming we see him on the field. But Mixon, I have seen in recent drafts, him fall into the second round. And if you drafted over the last week, you got Mixon in the second round. I wasn't fortunate to get that opportunity. You're feeling pretty good, but how do you feel about Joe Mixon now? Did he drop down your rankings? Were you passing on him? And now with this news, how do you feel about him?
So I was passing on him because I didn't like the uncertainty, and I felt like at the spot he was going, there were other people I felt better about. But now I'm much more in on him. So he bumped up a little bit for me. I'd be willing to have a share. Obviously, the person I'm most nervous about right now is Alvin Kamara, which I'm sure most of you are nervous about because he's going as high as 4 in most drafts. That's really high for someone that now suddenly looks like they're holding out according to reports. So Mixon up, Kamara down for me.
Where would you take Kamara right now? Like, what's the earliest you would take him? Obviously, he has not been in training camp for a few days, and the reports are it has to do with the contract. I know there were some other reports that maybe it's injury related. I think we all agree it probably has to do with his contract. He's going to be a free agent after this year. He's making less money than Latavius Murray. So what do you do with Kamara? I mean, because look, this Mixon deal got done. We're still kind of waiting on Dalvin Cook, and Kamara is the big one right now. And both those guys generally have gone 4 or 5. So if you're picking 4th, 5th, either of those guys there, and you're drafting tonight, and you are, what do you do?
Luckily I'm not, but I might wait till around 6 or 7. I know that's just probably not even worth it, but at 6 or 7, I think I can't pass on that. I feel more comfortable about Cook than I do about Kamara because Cook hasn't missed any practice. He's been showing up for practice, and he's stated, like, I want to be here. I want to have my head in the game. I'm not actually super, super worried about Alvin Kamara because, look, the New Orleans Saints, they want to win, and they certainly want to win now versus Tom Brady. I think that only incentivizes them even more to really want to win. I think they're going to get Kamara the contract, but it just still never feels good to go into your draft and take someone as high as 3 or 4, which is where he goes sometimes in PPR leagues, and know that there's a possibility that he might even miss a game or two based on how much practice he's missed, even if they get the deal done.
Yeah, I have to imagine the Saints are in a position where they have Super Bowl aspirations. And I know Latavius Murray filled in well for Kamara last year, 2 games.
He did.
But it changes over the course of a season. They really need Kamara to be a part of their offense. I mean, the explosive ability that he has, I have to think they get a deal done because I think he's very important to that offense. Yeah, can they get by a few games? Sure. But this is a Super Bowl year. The Saints have been so close over the last few years. They had that pass interference call in the NFC Championship game against the Rams that cost them. They had that Minneapolis miracle with Stephon Diggs where they missed the tackle and he scored. So this team has been one of the best teams in the NFL the last few years, and they're going to win a Super Bowl. They need Kamara to be a part of it. I think it gets done, but it's just a guess here. You never know. But I got to think the Saints are trying to figure this out ASAP.
I mean, I got to think so too. That's why I wouldn't let him fall very far. But I will admit that if I'm picking number 4 and, I might feel more comfortable going with Dalvin Cook or, someone else right there. I mean, I guess Dalvin Cook's also a holdout risk, but as I said, he's at least been coming to practice. He hasn't had migraines and he hasn't secretly held out. So, we saw with, Ezekiel Elliott, it took him a few extra games to really get into gear last year because of missing camp and because of that holdout. Was he still excellent? Yes. But I think Ezekiel Elliott will be a lot better this year for fantasy than he was last year because he's going to be able to hit the ground running a lot harder. And that could happen to Alvin Kamara. So that just kind of makes me shave about 10% off mentally.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how much what he's missed 3-4 days at this point.
Yeah.
Now he misses.
Depends on how long it goes on.
Right. Then that could be a factor. At the same time, if I'm drafting those guys, I'm not worried about the first 2 weeks. I'm thinking long term. But a lot of people picking at 4 or 5 have decisions to make. And I saw someone I know was in a draft yesterday. He took Kamara at 8. He fell at 8. And,
wow. That you have to take that.
And you know what? If I'm not, I think he actually got Mixon in round 2 also. Oh, man. So if Kamara signs a deal today or tomorrow, that guy's going to be feeling pretty good. And that's the thing. Sometimes people draft scared and cautious. And with your first round pick, I can see that. Others are going to be aggressive and take the shot and say, you know what? Maybe he signs in the next few days. Maybe he signs by the start of the season. Why am I going to pass that up? Now, if you do happen to take Kamara early, how important is it to get Latavius Murray?
Oh, very important. It's important to get Latavius Murray anyway, because that guy's the touchdown vulture. So, you want to have his handcuff, and you may just want him. If Kamara gets injured, you're going to put him in. I think you have to have Latavius Murray if you have Kamara, even if we're not talking about a contract extension issue.
Yeah, I did the SiriusXM host draft last week, and I took Kamara at 4 and was able to get Latavius Murray in round 9.
Nice.
Dalvin Cook went 1 pick after me at 5, and the Dalvin Cook owner was able to get Alexander Madison in round 9 right after I took Murray. And I almost took Madison. I'm like, should I take? I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Maybe just get my own guy. So, see, round 9, I don't mind it. It's when you have to start pushing guys up to round 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, no.
It's a little bit more difficult. And, someone might put the pressure on you and say, I'm going to see, I don't think like that. I don't look at other people's teams. I worry about my team. If I feel that's the best player on the board at that time, I'll take him. But I'm not looking to take someone's handcuff out of spite. This is not a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode of spite.
Well, in round 9, I think that both Latavius Murray and Alexander Madison also have their own standalone value, and there will be weeks you may want to play them anyway. So, that's a no-brainer.
Obviously, everyone has talked about it a lot, but let's quickly touch upon Leonard Fournette. Maybe he is claimed or signed by a team possibly later today. I believe the deadline to clear waivers is 4 o'clock. I doubt anyone's going to want to pick up that contract, but you're drafting tonight and we still don't know what team he's on. Do you have any interest in Fournette? What round would it take for you to take?
Yeah, late, round 10 or after. If he's still there, why not? Just take a shot. I have no problem with that. I mean, the guy was second most snaps in the league per game last year. So he was on the field. It's a pretty weird thing that they cut him altogether. I mean, we heard they were trying to trade him. There's a reason why no one wants to trade him. Is he bad in the clubhouse? He's still a good running back, maybe not a great running back. He's a good running back. I think someone probably will take him. The issue is no one's going to take him and make him a bell cow back, right? So no matter what, he's going to be part of the committee. And then is he going to affect the other people in the committee or is he not? I don't know. A late round pick? Yeah. Why wouldn't you? Anything before that, I'm not taking it. Yeah, I didn't have any shares to begin with.
Oh, I had none. I've been saying it, and you know this, some of these live streams that I've talked about, that I feel like a lot of those running backs are landmines. Fournette was one of them. I mean, sometimes you just have to read what teams are relaying to you. There was they didn't pick up his fifth-year option. There were reports all of season they wanted to trade him. They just never seemed enamored with him. And he was all based on volume last year. He had 100 targets. There was no way that was going to repeat. They did that out of necessity. And he wasn't very efficient last year. We want volume. He got it. Now, the touchdowns, I'm not going to blame on him. It was a bad offense. And that's why I'm not really enamored with any of the backfield guys in Jacksonville right now. I saw Raquel Armstead go in the 5th round of an NFFC cut line draft. Sorry, I'm not interested. He's had COVID-19. He has missed a lot of practice. They're saying Devonta Zigbo is getting a lot of snaps right now. And we know Chris Thompson's going to be involved.
Right.
It's a bad backfield. It's a bad team. I mean, every running back has value at a certain point, but I feel right now that these Jacksonville running backs are going to be a little overvalued. What do you think? And do you have any interest?
I have no interest except for Chris Thompson in a late round, which was already a late round pick for me anyway, just because of his pass catching ability in PPR leagues. And the thing that it changes the most for me is I think DJ Chark and maybe even Dede Westbrook will see a little bit more action than they were before. So it just kind of makes me feel better about DJ Chark and maybe even Dede Westbrook as a late round pick as well.
Yeah, I've been drafting a lot of DJ Chark, and I think I don't think this really changes anything for him. I thought he was going to be good anyway. They'll be obviously trailing quite a bit. This is a bad football team, and they clearly are kind of taking everything apart, sort of like Miami, what they did a couple years ago. So let's take a look at this draft from last night that you were a part of here, and we'll see where some players in the news recently went, who's rising, who's falling. It's called Man Smart, Women Smarter. So this is a Fantasy Alarm Women's League. And I'm assuming your team is LA Piacenti. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right. I'm not really sure how you figured that out, but you're a real crackerjack.
I don't know. Maybe someone wanted to use your name and trying to flatter you.
It's actually La Piacenti because I'm a singer.
Okay.
No, it's LA. It's LA.
Oh. So you had the 2 pick, took Saquon Barkley, not really much to talk about there. You took George Kittle. Now, is this a PPR league?
This is a PPR league.
Okay. Now, I did this recently. I've been more open. It was Travis Kelce who I took, but he was not available for you. I've been more open this year to taking a tight end late in round 2. I don't really think it's led my team in a bad direction. I actually like the way it turns out. And I've usually not been someone who takes the tight end that early. Last year, I took Kittle in rounds 4 or 5 if he was available. I thought I'm like, all right, if you're going to let him slip to round 4, I'll take him. Last year in the GST league, I had picked 12, and he came back to me on the 3-4 turn. So I said, all right, I'm going to take him here. I'm not going to let him fall any further. So is this something you've employed a lot this year, or you're trying to?
First time. This is the first time I did it. I had George Kittle in this league last year, so I thought it was fun to kind of keep that through line. And also, I just thought, hey, look, San Francisco's a little beat up. They're without, Debo maybe. They're without Brendan Ayuk. That just seems like maybe even more opportunity for George Kittle. Why not go ahead and go for it? And, I'm sure you have the same situation, Adam. We're in so many leagues now that I'm just trying out a few different builds. And I didn't want to go running back. I wanted to just, I got my Saquon Barkley. I wanted to say, look, I got Saquon Barkley. Let me just take who I think is going to be really best at their position. And I thought at that point, George Kittle was the one that separated himself from the rest of the group.
Yeah, looking at the first round, there were a couple things that stood out. I mean, Kamara went at 4, so not scared off there. Dalvin Cook at 5. Thomas 6, Henry 7, Josh Jacobs at 8. That is as early as I've seen him go, ahead of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, and Miles Sanders. So, as usual, 11 running backs in the first round, but Jacobs at 8. Were you surprised to see that? And do you think it's too early, or are you okay with it?
I was a little surprised to see it, but I'm okay with it because who comes after that? Okay, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who we assume will be the main guy in the backfield, but we don't really know. I mean, for goodness sakes, what if they go sign Leonard Fournette tomorrow? It's possible. He's a rookie, he's unproven, so I understand that. Josh Jacobs is proven. We know he's going to be the main guy there. Nick Chubb is in concussion protocol, so maybe you feel nervous there. Joe Mixon, at this point, we didn't know if he had a contract he could be holding out, and Miles Sanders is week to week with a hamstring injury, playing for a coach who never uses a bell cow running back. So I can't argue with someone feeling like Josh Jacobs is my guy and I like him. Yeah, it's the earliest I've seen him go as well, but I can't really say it was necessarily a wrong pick. This could end up to be the right pick at the end of the season.
I thought Davonte Adams at 2.5 was an absolute steal. Yeah. I mean, ridiculous that he fell there. I cannot take Tyreek Hill and DeAndre Hopkins over him. Kenyon Drake, I like at 2.7. I know I mean, I think a lot of teams are being extremely cautious. Now, they're not going to be very revealing about injuries, so maybe it is possible that some of these guys are hurt more than we think. But I'm definitely willing to take Kenyon Drake at 2.7. In fact, my home league draft over the weekend, of course, one of my friends who's in your league tonight, Red Rum, in the GST league, I had picked 2, he had picked 3. And he got Drake in the second round, man. I knew he wasn't making it back to me. I was like, can't believe that. Julio Jones at 2.8, another steal. He's going too late. So those are some of the things that stood out in the first 2 rounds. Round 3, you took Adam Thielen over a lot of running backs, over Allen Robinson. Wait a second. What happened?
I did.
Trying to diversify here? Is that what
I did. I actually don't have any Allen Robinson yet, believe it or not. But I wanted some Adam Thielen. I'm really liking Adam Thielen. Now we've got the Justin Jefferson issues coming out of camp. I just think, he's going to be healthy. He's going to get the red zone targets. And I thought, hey, it was a little bit of a reach. I think Allen Robinson probably was the more obvious pick. But yeah, I went Thielen. I think they're both the wide receiver ones. And like I said, every team I'm doing is a little bit different.
Yeah, I've taken Robinson quite a bit. I do have Thielen in a league or two. I just think he's going to get so many targets in that offense.
That's what I think.
He should see 130, 140, maybe 150. They just don't have much. I also think that defense is not as good as it was in recent seasons. They might be forced to play from behind and pass more. Allen Robinson to me at 3.10 is good value. I like that a lot. Calvin Ridley, who you took. Calvin Ridley, I was able to get in a lot of early drafts. I was talking about him in May, how much I liked him, and it looks like the helium has just boosted him up. Sometimes in the late 3rd round, but 4.2. Actually, that was not you. My bad. Sorry.
That was not me.
Yeah, I'm sure you probably wanted him. DJ Moore at 4.5 was nice. You took Robert Woods, though, at 4.11. Yeah. I liked it. I took Robert Woods, actually, same spot in my home league over the weekend, end of the 4th round.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, you guys are getting a video on Robert Woods. It's going to come out today. I'm sending it in because I'm really digging on Robert Woods. He's my new fantasy crush over Allen Robinson, maybe.
Yeah, I'd still take Robinson over him, but I
would take Robinson over him too, but
I do like Woods. I mean, I would like more touchdowns. I just don't know if that's going to come. But if you look at what he does on a per game basis, especially in PPR, you know what you're getting. It's a very high floor. I don't think we see an increase in touchdowns. They just don't seem to use him much in the red zone. They do also hand him the ball off. He's good for 100, 150 rushing yards. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're trying to decide between a close group of tier of receivers, it pushes him up a little bit. So That was definitely a good pick. And then, so you employed what I've kind of done, running back with the first pick, then either 3 receivers or a tight end. You went a tight end, 2 receivers, and then you went Ronald Jones at 5'2". And you talk about someone who is rising up draft boards right now. It looks like he's at least going to be the starter going into the year. The key is he going to be able to pass protect and not get Brady crushed? Is he going to be able to catch the football? There's been some video of him dropping passes. But Ronald Jones.
And that was my first pick. I really was like, ugh. But I felt a little bit like, it's going to be so long until it gets back around to my turn. And I didn't want to get that far down the running back board because I actually am slightly worried about injury for Saquon Barkley, to be honest. He's not the most, he was injured last year. I don't know how well they're going to protect him in New York. I'm just a little nervous about it. So I didn't want to go any longer without another running back. And unfortunately, there weren't many left. I didn't want Devin Singletary because I don't think he's going to keep the job. I think Zach Moss is going to eclipse him. I think Ronald Jones has a better chance of keeping the job, though I'm not confident in that. And Raheem Mostert had already gone. So I was just that was the first time that I felt a little bit in a jam. I could have gone Mark Ingram. I thought about that. But again, I'm a little worried about J.K. Dobbins and Lamar Jackson taking from him, and he's a little older. So that was the one pick that I just didn't love, but I did it anyway.
So you start 2 running backs and 2 receivers, or 3 receivers in this league?
2 running backs and 3 receivers.
And 1 flex?
And 1 flex.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, if you look at some of the running backs that went after, Ingram went at 5'11", James White 6'1", DeAndre Swift 6'3".
See, and I don't want,
Yeah, I mean, if you see the injuries pushing running backs down the board, Swift 6'3", Montgomery 6'7", Jordan Howard at 6'10". So you see some of these running backs dealing with some issues right now are dropping, and everyone is always trying to get a running back, and you have to pay for them. And, if you don't, you're going to try and figure it out throughout the season, which I'm actually okay with doing. Then you took Michael Gallup in round 6, pick 11. Did I get Gallup in my home? I got Gallup somewhere. I don't know if it was my home league, but yeah, I think he falls. I know the Cowboys have a lot of weapons, and CeeDee Lamb is explosive, and Blake Jarwin. I mean, pretty much all the reports coming out of Cowboy camp have been positive for almost everyone. I mean, this clearly is going to be an explosive offense, but I think Gallup can get it done. And then, another running back in round 7, pick 2, Philip Lindsay. That's as early as I've seen him go. Now, Melvin Gordon was dealing with a rib injury, and there have been some reports that this split could be closer than we think. Is that what you're hoping?
That's what I'm counting on. I do believe it. I do not believe that when Melvin Gordon came back, it took him forever to get back into gear. He hasn't been playing regularly. They say he's having issues with the altitude. He's got a rib thing, all of it. Philip Lindsay was a perfectly good running back before. There's no reason they're just not going to use him. And I'm just counting on Philip Lindsay getting a lot more of this committee than people think he will. And even maybe getting some entire games where Gordon gets injured or doesn't feel so great, or, why? I mean, I understand that they paid Melvin Gordon, but they still have a perfectly good running back right there in Philip Lindsay. So I feel like that is somebody that could end up, he's one injury away from being the lead back again. So it felt like a safe pick to me, even though it was as early as round 7.
Yeah, we also saw J.K. Dobbins go in that round, and Harbaugh came out today and said Dobbins will have a role week 1. I think everyone kind of knew that, and he's very interesting. Some drafts I've seen him go earlier, 7th round, especially if you need a running back. I'm actually okay with it. It might be someone that gets better as the season goes along. Devonta Parker fell to first pick around 8, and I'm assuming that's because he hasn't been at practice, and it's kind of undisclosed exactly what this injury is. And maybe some people will feel last year was a fluke. Others probably worried about his injury history, but Devonta Parker falling here to the first pick of round 8, that's about as late as I've seen him go. Then you took Darius Slayton at 8-11. And it's interesting with the Giants because we usually see Slayton as the first guy off the board, then Sterling Shepard a couple rounds later, then Golden Tate. There's been pretty good reports about Shepard in camp, but we know he does have an injury history and did have I think at least 2 concussions last year. Why do you feel Slayton's going to be the guy for the Giants?
I think that he was just tearing it up last year. He had good chemistry with Daniel Jones. He's young, and everything you mentioned. I mean, Sterling Shepard has a concussion history, and Sterling Shepard was already gone. So I didn't have the opportunity to take Shepard. So at that point, I just thought Slayton was a good boom candidate.
A nice job by FF Hope getting Latavius Murray to handcuff Kamara in round 9, not paying like a high price tag. So that's a good job there. Alexander Madison going also in round 9, not to the Dalvin Cook owner. So a little bit of thievery there. Antonio Gibson goes in round 9, pick 9. Is he someone that you have your eyes on this year?
It is someone I have my eyes on this year. I think he's probably going to be used as a running back, maybe even a wide receiver. We don't know. Obviously, everything with the football team is very up in the air, but he's definitely someone I think could have a lot of value. But I'm not going early for him. I think round 9 is fine. Maybe a little early, actually, is what I was thinking. I was trying to get him in the next round.
Yes, some interesting picks in the double-digit rounds. Deshaun Jackson, we really don't talk about him much.
Yeah.
5th pick around 11, Jalen Reagor is going to be missing some games to begin the year. We saw Jackson last year, week 1, go off. And when he is on the field, he is dynamic. I haven't taken him, but I'm open to him in the double-digit rounds. I mean, he might be a guy that you're worried about over the course of a season at his age, but he still runs well. And the Eagles offense really needs him. I thought when they lost him last year, that's why they struggled so much. They didn't have that deep threat. Someone that the defense had to account for. So Deshaun Jackson's a solid pick there in round 11.
Is he supposed to be back week 1?
Who?
Is he Deshaun Jackson?
Yeah.
Is he all good for week 1?
He's good to go.
So I was looking at matchups, and Deshaun Jackson should have another good week.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. Washington football team.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah. That's okay.
Round 12, I like Hawkinson, Chase Edmonds. Those are good picks. Even Jerick McKinnon is coming on a little bit. We're hearing good things about him. Yeah, he hasn't been healthy, but I'd take a shot in the double-digit rounds. Brashard Perriman, I like a lot, but the guy still is not practicing with the knee issue. And apparently a lot of the Jets are banged up. It looks like Chris Herndon got a scare today in his spine. Jamison Crowder, I think, got hurt. I don't know what the extent is there. So I like Perriman still, but now – I'm not going to be as aggressive with this knee issue that he has.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So Raquel Armstead in round 14?
Yeah, that person's pretty happy right now.
Wow. Okay. Look, I'm not high on him, but I'd take him earlier than round 14. So,
but this was that we didn't have the Jackson. We didn't have the news yet. This is Sunday night.
Oh, Sunday night.
Yeah, this was Sunday night.
I think you said Monday night. Oh, okay. Forget it. I thought you said it was Monday night. All right. Yeah. Well, that's why. So.
Yeah.
Hey, one of the benefits of drafting early is sometimes things fall in your favor. You could be on the other end where you took Fournette round 3. If you did, you weren't listening to us. Maybe there's some other people on Fantasy Alarm that were, promoting Fournette. It wasn't me. I know that.
I think there were.
It wasn't me. You know this. I have not been taking these running backs early outside of like my first round. I'm just, I feel like there's a lot of flaws in these running backs. So, but if someone falls to me, like I said, you got to be fluid and have a flexible draft plan. Just because I've had a blueprint that I've been using, like I told you, if Kenyon Drake would have fell to me in the second round, I would have taken him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you got to go for value. I mean, value's where it's at.
Definitely. Well, guys, we got a big thing to help you on Saturday. Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern is the Fantasy Alarm Draft Party, where you guys can have your questions answered. You might be in a draft at that time and you need some advice when you're on the clock. Go there, ask your questions. So make sure you check it out. Again, that's Saturday, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern. And make sure you get the draft kit and all the tools throughout the season. Not just the draft. We're here to help you DFS. And we'll have chats, videos. We have you covered. Anything that you need, we're going to help you win and dominate. It's going to be a crazy season, in my opinion, and you're going to need help along the way. And we're here anytime to answer those questions. So also make sure you check us out on YouTube, Fantasy Alarm. Subscribe. Check us out on Periscope. We're going to be here, videos daily. And, of course, we got the chat. And don't forget, this Saturday, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern, Fantasy Alarm Draft Party. Go in there, ask your questions. Jen, always a good time talking to you. I know we're going to do it again soon. Good luck tonight in the GST.
Thank you.
Hopefully you finish second to me in the overall championship.
I'll see you in the Super Bowl, Ronis.
I'm Adam Ronis. That's Jen Piacenti. Thanks for joining us. Go out there and crush your drafts throughout the week leading up to the season. Have a great day.